Hi everybody, it's Marie. So I challenged myself to pick up one of these little bead packs from Walmart. They're by Jesse James. So, you know, there's 100+ beads in here. They're not top line beads, obviously. There's some plastic beads and stuff in it, but very, very pretty stuff and very well coordinated. But I wanted to challenge myself with one of these. They're $4.95. And I wanted to see what I could make with it that, you know, wouldn't look like $4.95 jewelry, shall I say. So, this is what I came up with for the most part, which I think came out real pretty. So, I'm going to try making this, recreating this with you guys today, under the camera. So, let's give it a try, and we'll see if we can get it done. So the first thing I'm going to need is my 16 gauge wire. I'm going to need some 26 gauge wrapping wire. And to make the sides for the necklace afterwards, I'm going to use this gold toned beading wire. But we'll get to that afterwards. So in addition to this pack, I did want to add something else to it for beads. So, and I've already got one of these strands off because I've laid out my idea for the most part. But I bought this strand also at Walmart. It was 2 strands. I've already taken one off. Of these glass beads. And it's just a variety of sizes of rondelles. 4, 6, and I'm going to say 10. It's definitely not 8. So we're going to add those to it as well, just to give it a little more, to pick up a little more of the gold that's in these beads, because it's a lot of peach. And I don't really want to use this stuff here because I don't want to use the plastic stuff. So I'm really limiting myself to these here in the toggle. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and I know I should probably get measurements, but it's so hard when I'm just free-forming a wire wrapped pendant. So I'm going to cut off, I'm going to say it's a foot. I'm going to cut off a good foot of wire. And I do want my nylon jaw pliers because I do want to straighten that just a little. This is a very strong wire. 16 gauge is very tough and somewhat hard to work with. And if your hands aren't really strong, then it's probably not going to be a good choice for you. So you might want to go down to the 18 gauge. I don't know how well it will hold together, but I apologize for that. Phone company truck going through. So somewhat in the middle here, I'm just going to go up to the biggest part of my round nose pliers, give it a bend. Wow, I really got that even, and that is totally by luck. I don't really do that well most of the time. And then I'm just going to keep pulling them apart until I get them down to, I guess I have it less on that one. So I do need to open this up a little bit more, I guess. So I'm just going to try to open it up a little bit like this. Yeah, that's better. It's not perfect, but it's okay. It doesn't need to be. It's going to get hammered anyway. So at this point, I'm just going to give it a little bend on both sides. I've got to pull it back towards me to move it, because otherwise I'm going to hit the camera. So I apologize if it's moving in and out of frame. And then what I really did was move up to here, about 1/2 inch up from the bend, right about there, and about halfway down my round nose. And I just took the wire and made a complete loop. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Of course, every one of these is going to come out different. So this one's going to come out totally different from the one I've already made. And that's, you know, that's wire. And I did bend those wrong. That one should have been on the top like that one, so I might have to back that out just a little. Totally fixable. I just need to bring it back, bring it over this one, and rebend it. Here we go. Not too bad. All right. I do want to bend it out a little bit more than that. Give it a little more of an arc. So it's pretty good right there. Get those loops somewhat the same. And then going in right beside that one, I'm going to do another one, slightly smaller, but right beside it. And just by putting my pliers around those pliers right against the loop I've already created. Alright, so I've now got that. And I can already see that I did this one different. I did one loop here and then two up here. But that's okay. Alright, now up here, I'm just going to bring it around on the top. And this is totally free forming. There is no right way or wrong way to do this. It's your wire, it's your tools. Do what works for you and have fun with it. Adjust that one just a little to bring it in close to the size of this one. Bring my wire back out. So now I'm looking at something like this. So at this point, I think I'm going to cut off a little of my wire, go way down on my thick end again, and roll it back like this. And try to keep them somewhat similar, somewhat similar in size. And this one might be totally off. I might have to come back and cut it again. Actually, it looks pretty good. It is a little longer. This bar is a little longer than this bar, but I'm going to leave it. I don't think it's that bad. And then you want to just kind of shape stuff a little bit. And I am going to bring in my hammering block and my hammer. And I'm just going to, off screen, off camera, I'm going to hammer on this side, the back side. I'm just going to hit the tips of all my loops. So I will be right back. Okay, it's all hammered. So this one I shaped yesterday, which is actually more in keeping with this one because I need to wire these flowers on it. This is the one I just made with you guys, which is perfectly usable as well, but I didn't realize when I was wiring it up that I reversed the big loop in the two loops, which in order for this to set correctly, I need it to be like this, not like this, which this would be perfectly beautiful too. I mean, I probably could even do the same. Probably could even make it look almost exactly the same by putting them in the same spots. Yeah, I probably could. So if you made this shape, again, you could make it work. You could do whatever you want with it, but I am going to work with this shape just because I want to show you this particular pendant. I do have some leaves that are from my own stash. I did add these to it. And everything else came from the box other than my wire. And that's it, those leaves. So I'm going to set that aside out of the way, and I'm going to work on this part. Now, on this, it does require some gluing. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper to put down so that I don't make a mess all over. Actually, you know what? I'll just use the lid of this so I don't make a mess with the glue, because I am going to use some super glue in a couple of spots. Partially for these flowers. And in order for these to wire on correctly, I do need to watch the position of the opening when I glue them on. So there's my bead hole. I'm just going to put a drop of glue on there. And I want to put it right between this loop and yep, and that first loop. But I want my holes going this way so I can wire around it. I'm trying not to glue my fingers to this bead. So I'm going to hold that for just a second while it sets up. All right. And the same thing on this one. I am so going to glue something to myself. I know I am. All right. So far, so good. These two little rondelles here from the package, little pink rondelles, I am going to glue into these little holes, but I want to glue them so that the drill hole is going up and down. So the easiest way I found to do this one was to just go around the metal, take a little piece of wire, if I had one cut, try to drop it over it without without getting my fingers in it. I really hate super glue, but it's so much quicker. This is so much easier when I'm just not on camera and I have all kinds of room to work. But we'll get it. It'll get on there. I know it will. There. Got it. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute and give this time to set up. It'll only take about 5-10 minutes. Okay, while that's setting up, actually, it's been about 5 minutes, but it's going to take a little bit longer. But while that's setting up, we'll work on this pretty little dangle. So the box comes with this piece. Clearly, I bought 2 of these boxes. Just if you're wondering how I got so much out of it, that's why I bought 2. So I'm going to use this little drop. And I'm going to use one of these bead caps that came in the box. And that is it for that part. So I'm going to take my 26 gauge wire. I'm going to pull off about 8 inches. I'm going to go right through my bralette and just bring the short side up about an inch's worth. Pinch them together and wrap that a couple of times pretty tightly around the straight wire. Trim it off. There's really no need to tuck because we're going to put that bead cap right down over it. Now we would anyways if it would cooperate. So then we have the bead cap right down over it. And I'm just going to kind of push the bead cap to shape it to this bead. Just like that. And I'm going to put a little bend in it. That's a little more than I would like, but that's okay. Bring my wire up over, rotate my pliers, bring it around, and now I've got the makings of a wrapped loop. I pinched it so I kind of messed it up, but that's okay. Hold that and start wrapping it. And I want to wrap it good and tight because I want to make sure it holds that bead cap in place. So it's going to be a little bit of a chunky wrap. Trim that off. And this one you do need to give a tuck. Alright, and then we have it. To adjust this a little bit. There. Perfect. And now we're just going to take a eye pin and get it out of here. And then we're just going to do another simple loop on the other end of the eye pin on this pretty little, whoa, on this pretty little faceted bead here. And I do want those to be pointing in the same direction. So I'm just going to give them a twist with my pliers to get them both in line with each other here. It'll make connecting them so much easier. Actually, you know what? I think I'm not, because I was going to use a jump ring, but I think I'm just going to attach it directly to it. And that's what I did there, actually. So instead of putting them together, I'm in line with the, oh! Yeah, they only take so much twisting before they break, obviously. Let's do it again. It is metal after all. You twist it too many times, it's going to break. Okay. And we will just redo it. There. And I actually did this one the correct way so that one is going this way, one is going this way, and that is what I want. So I'll open this one up and hang this little dangle to it. And now when this gets attached up here with the jump ring to this piece, it will be laying correctly. So there's our dangle piece for it. That was pretty simple, other than the screwed up eye pin, but you know, trial and error. Alright, let's see if we're all set up here. It's still a little bit tacky. Alright, well that's drying a little more. Let's work on the beaded strand side of it. So this is what I decided, using a mixture of my beads from the box and beads from that strand that I showed you. So I picked out the pearls that were in here. These ones came in the box. And I picked out a few of the bicones in the 8mm. And what else did I take out? I thought there were some smaller ones here, but no, I guess all the smaller ones were just from the strand. Alright, so the rest of these bead caps, these are a different bead cap. These also came in this box, but they're a different shape. Came with two different shapes. Came with this pointy one, which is the one I put on the drop, and then it came with this more rounded one, which is going to go on the pearl. I do actually have most of my stuff already picked out, so I'm just going to bring it over here. And I'll show you what came with what as I get it out here. Okay, so I just took another one of these little focal beads from our drop. Excuse me. Yeah, there it goes. I went in with a small one of these little rondelles on it. And then I went in with one of the bigger. These are pretty. They're like a smoky topaz kind of color. And then the bead caps with pearl. And then I went 3. I'm sorry if I'm getting down too far for you to see it on this end. So at the bottom stretch of it, I went with smaller. I'll try to bring this up here and show you what I'm saying. Down here at the end of it, I went 3 small 4mm rondelles, a pink rondelle, and then 3 of the small rondelles, a pearl with bead caps, the big rondelle, another small rondelle, the focal bead, and when I get up to this part up here, instead of going all small like I did at the bottom, I started working with more of the 6mm ones and then transferred to the smaller, if that makes any sense. So this is what I have laid out. Alright, once we get past that pearl at the top, it's 3 of the 6mm rondelles, a pink, 3 of the, what do I do with them now? Didn't get them all out. I'm so organized. It's here, I know it's here. Seem to only be pulling out pink ones though. Okay, right there. 1, 2, 3. Missing one. Alright, I'm gonna have to open this other strand evidently. There we go. So then we had 3 there. 1, 2, 3, yep. And then 3 of the smaller ones again. Down on this end it's a pink and 3 of the smaller ones. So there we go. Let me pull off a length of my beading wire. Tie a knot in it. And string it up. So I'm going to string it. My stringing is 3 of the 4mm, I'm going to call them topaz rondelles, 1 6mm pink rondelle, and then 3 4mm topaz rondelles. Bead cap, pearl, bead cap, 10mm rondelle in topaz, 4mm in topaz, focal bead, 4mm in topaz, 10mm in topaz, bead cap, pearl, bead cap, and there's that other one I was looking for. It was inside of my bead cap. Alright, well, now we know where it was. 6mm topaz rondelle, 6mm topaz rondelle, and I guess it wasn't because now I need it. So it wasn't the one. So I have 3 of them. And then the pink, 6mm rondelle, 3 more topaz, 6mm rondelles, and then ending with 3. And you could keep going for, you know, however length you want your, I mean, you could continue with these smaller rondelles all the way to the top at this point. I'm just going to end it with chain afterwards, so I'm only putting on 3. This is just to taper the end back out again to give it a more consistent, more uniform look. This is what we've got. So I'm going to set that aside because we should be dry enough now to work on the fun part. Wiring all this stuff in. Yeah, it feels pretty dry now. Alright, so I'm going to get out my 26 gauge wire. I'm going to pull off about 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches. I'm going to work these pieces individually, so don't need a ton. I'm going to go through the hole of my little rose until I'm about in the middle of the wire, and I'm just going to wrap, try not to kink your wire, wrap it around the inside of that loop 3-4 times. Trying to pull on it snugly, but at the same time I know I'm wiggling my camera because my desk is wobbly. So I'm trying to be real careful not to wiggle too much. But you really want to get good tight wraps and really close together. It's important for them to be close together because it keeps them neat and tidy looking. So I've got 3 on there now. I'm going to do 1 more. That should be good. There we go. And they're good and tight. So I'm going to flip it over. Take the other piece. And I'm going to wire wrap it. There might be enough space for me to get through there. Let's see. No, there isn't. So I'm going to come up through between these 2 loops that we made, the 2 that are here. I'm going to come up between. That's 1. Well, that's a 2 actually, I guess. And come up between there again. Basically, you're going to wire anywhere you can find a spot to wire to. Doesn't necessarily have to be this spot. It could have been, you know, through this loop. It could be anywhere that your bead ends up landing that gives you a spot to get in there and wrap. Use your tools if you got them, if you need them. Try to push that down a little bit, neaten it up some. And I think I can get 1 more in there. Now, so this is what I've got. 4 reps here, 4 reps here. So at this point, I'm just going to find a good spot to cut the wire and tuck it. This one I'm going to try to tuck so it's on the inside of that hammered wire. So I'm going to get really in there. And it came out a little bit, so I'm going to have to bend it over. That's okay. As long as it's pinched down good and tight so it's not poking anybody, it'll be okay. And this one I'm going to cut so that I can fold it inside of right inside that little triangular hole right there that my beading wire is coming through. And give it a good squeeze. Yeah, that side is wired on. Now, take another piece of wire. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side, but I'm going to pause for time because there's a lot to wire. Okay, so I've got both of these wired on. Looking good so far. Now I'm basically just going to do the exact same thing with these rondelles. I'm just going to pull off 2 pieces and get it done and over with so I don't keep pulling it off. Now, you're going to have to pick one side or the other to go around your bead because your bead is going to get covered at some point here. Oh, there's still a little wet glue there evidently. Came right out of that bead. It's sticking to my fingers. So I'm going to go over the top portion of it. And then I'm just going to start wrapping around my wire bar. Again, 3, 4, 5 times. So I have this. And I'm going to go down to this side. And do the exact same thing. Just to make sure that bead is secured. I mean, the glue is great, but I don't want to rely totally on glue. That's more there to hold it in place for you while you wire wrap more than anything. So we got that. Alright. Again, just find a spot to cut and tuck. Sorry if I was out of frame there. Cut and tuck your wire so that it's not pokey. If you're using square wire, it's so easy to bend these little wire nubs over and lay them flush against it. Square wire has a way of just holding your little ends. So again, just take it and just want to give it a snug like that. And there we go. Alright, I'm going to do this one again. I'll be right back. And there we have it. Looking pretty. Alright, so now we're going to work on the leaves. So where did I put them? In all these little scraps of wires I got going everywhere. Alright, we're going to need 4 leaves. I think this one's coming out better than my first one. Alright, again with this 22 gauge wire. And you could use head pins if you have a nice thin gauged wired head pin. I don't think mine are. Let me check them real quick. I think mine are. I think the gauge on mine is too stiff to wrap. So I'm going to go with that. But if you have a head pin that has a really thin gauged wire and it bends super easy, yeah, those are too stiff. Then feel free to use that, but we're going to make a knotted head pin for these leaves. They're not hard to make. Just want to grip, backwards here. I want to grip the very tip of your wire in around those pliers. My pliers are starting to get bad. They don't close very tight anymore. But going around until you get all the way to that beginning point again, but you want to be on the inside of your pliers, on the inside of that opening, until you get back to it again. When you get back to it again, right there, just pinch it and pull your wire out straight, and you'll have this. So put that through the hole like that, so it looks kind of like a little sliding knot type deal. You're going to want your nylon jawed pliers, and only your nylon jawed pliers, because otherwise you'll strip this and you'll ruin it. I keep getting the hiccups. Hold on to your wire end, pull it through, and I think I'd ruined this one. Didn't come out right. Well, it's not too bad. It's just a little loose. It's okay. It's good enough for demonstration. But take your time doing it. Get it to come out. Get it to come out a little bit nicer than that. No, I did do it. Definitely did ruin it that time. I was trying to make it better. You can go on YouTube and search. Find people that do much better knotted head pins than I do, obviously. I'm not very good at it, but essentially it's going to look like this. This one's a little looser than it should be, but it'll work. I'm going to use it for now. It'll do what it needs to do. So we're going to put it up through, nope, put it up through the tip part of the leaf. Pull it into shape. And at this point, I think I'm just going to try to push this down around it just a little bit. I really wish I had some really thin head pins, because that's what I would use. I actually prefer head pins to knotted head pins, but that's okay. We'll make do. So then at this point, I'm just going to pick a spot to put my leaf. I think I'm going to put this one right here, and just wire around the whole thing 2 or 3 times, and then after that you need to go around the wire of your leaf a couple of times. That will help stabilize it so it's not all over the place on you. Then after you've done that, go back and wrap it again a couple of times. And there's one leaf on. And the wraps are going to get bunchy and they're going to look rather messy, but you're going over those nice pretty ones you made earlier. And if you can find another way to do it, feel free to do so. I will not be offended at all. I'm going to cut this right here. Maybe. And I'm going to tuck it right inside that piece of wire right there. Right down inside. So there's no little pokey bit. Something a little smaller than that though. There we go. Alright. So there's one leaf on. Now, you can put your leaves wherever you want. I have one here and one over here on this one, opposite each other. You could put one there and one over here. I might do that this time just for the fun of it. Put one on this side and do the same thing with this one. Put one here and one over here, just to change it up a little bit. But essentially, you're going to make all your knotted head pins for the 4 of those and wire wrap them on in the same way wherever you would like. I will be right back. Okay, so I've got just the one last leaf left to put on. I am going to go out here, go right through this one here. And I think I'm just going to kind of continue wrapping from the wraps from the rows. Try to reduce the amount of bulk of wires. And then again, I'm going to take my wire and I'm just going to keep wrapping around the wire that came out of the bead just to thicken it up, to give it some stiffness. And then come back through on the opposite side that I was wiring. I was wiring on this side before, now I'm on this side of the bead stem. Just to tighten it up. And we'll do one more. There. That's good and tight. Looks real pretty. Everything's kind of going in its own little organic way, which is what we want. Trim that wire and tuck it. Yeah. Looking good. Again, I'm not a big fan of knotted head pins, but you know, you do what you have to do sometimes. But if if you're better at doing them and you like doing them, perfect. If you're like me and you don't enjoy it much, you might want to search for some long, maybe 21 gauge ball head pins. So in this bead mix we have these little kind of a milky rondelle and then like a little crystal one. So I just pulled out two of the milky ones and one of the crystal ones for each side. You can do, and you might have a totally different bead mix because they come in red and they come in lavender and they come in all kinds of colors. I grabbed this one because it's the peach and that's, Pantone's color and whatnot. So I'm just going to start right here, just in front of that loop, wiring my, getting my wire wrapped around my bar a few times. And then I'm going to feed on one bead. This wire I cut is about 1 foot long. It's way too much, but it is what it is. And I'm just going to wrap a couple times. Pick up another one. You can pick up whichever one, whichever order. You could do all the same color. But I'm just going to pick up another one. Try to hold it somewhat in place. Again, just give it a couple wraps. And pick up the last one. Pop it in wherever you feel like you want it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You can put it wherever you want. I am going to try to get that wire down inside a little bit so I can't see it so much. Actually, I think I'm going to go right around that leaf. That will put it there. That'll put it out of the way. And I get that bead to cooperate now. There. And I've got my 3 little beads wired on. And you can push them around, put them into place, get them where you want them, and do all that before you cut and tuck, because once you cut and tuck, you're going to tighten your wire down. So I'm just going to cut this one here and just push it right down into the rest of those wraps to get rid of it. And then this one over here that I bent out of the way to start my wraps, I'm just going to bring it back up, trim it off, and wrap it right around the bar. Or I'm going to try to wrap it right around the bar. And squeeze it on. And there's that. Alright, so that is all the steps for this. I'm going to skip over to this one now, because this one is complete. So at this point, all I did was take a jump ring, and let me get out a jump ring. I'm going to do that before I skip over. And I just took my dangle. Where'd I put my dangle? I can't find anything in this mess. Fed it on to a jump ring and right over the wire. This jump ring's probably a little bigger than what I need, but it was the first one I grabbed. I do not want cutters. Oh my gosh, my desk is such a mess. There. So, yeah. Once these are beaded on over here, that is your completed link, your completed pendant, completed piece of wire work. And here we have this one, which I have already finished off. I'm going to get these beads out of the way. You can make all kinds of stuff with the leftovers of those. All the plastic ones and the, like, I challenged myself afterwards to see how many pairs of earrings I can make out of them. Using the tassels and the flowers and the beads and stuff. I think I made 6 pairs of earrings afterwards out of them. And then the rest of the beads I had left, which was mostly this stuff, I gave to my granddaughter to play with. So, there's that. So we're going to finish off our 2 strands now. And get it back out here. Get them out. I'm going to grab some more jump rings out because I need different sizes, and I think I grabbed all big ones. I am going to get out my crimp beads. That's not crimp beads. That's crimp beads. And a few of these little clamshells. I'm going to start at the bottom end, cut my knot off. Put on my clamshell upside down so that it's the cup's facing out. Pick up a crimp. Give it a little smush. Pick up a second one. Whoa! I'm flinging it across the room. Get in there. Pinch it on as well. Trim it off. And pull that clamshell right down over it. Close it shut. And do the same exact thing on this end. I probably was out of frame that whole time, I apologize. Open up the clamshell, feed it on, pick up a crimp bead, let this whole thing drop so that gravity takes it, so that it's not tight but doesn't have gaps. Grab that little crimp bead. I can do this better with my other pliers. The ones with the little teeth in it, grab it better. And get a hold of it. It's going to make me struggle. Alright, I'm going to grab it first, then move it down. Maybe. All right, I had it. Get up here. Get up here where I can get you. There we go. Now I've got it. I'm going to bring it back down and crimp it. And I'm going to pick up a second one. And get in there and crimp that one. And now I know it's good and secure because it has 2 on there for added security. Give it a trim. Close this down. I'm going to repeat those steps on this one and I'll be right back. Okay, both of those are done. We are now going to attach those right here with a 6mm jump ring. I think that should be good. Don't think I need anything bigger than that. And we're going to go right through that loop right here on the back of the rose. Or I'm going to try to go through that loop. There we go. And through the loop of my clamshell. Let's give it a twist here, shut it down, close that up. Oh, it's just looking really pretty. I think I did a bit of a wiring job on this one. It's cleaner, but they're both really pretty. This was my first attempt. This was my practice one, so the one I did with you guys, I actually did a little better in the wiring department. And honestly, just take your time. Make sure your wires are laying next to each other and everything is coming out nice and neat and even, and you know, it should come out pretty. It's gonna come out pretty no matter what anyways. I mean, can't go wrong with it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, I'm going to see how much chain I think I need. I don't think I need much more than 6 inches. 3 on each side. Should just about do it. And I'm really getting low on gold chain, so I think I need to probably invest in a little more real soon here. Alright, so we're going to do 3 inches. And try to pull that piece of chain out of there. There we go. I wasn't even in the camera measuring that, was I? Sorry about that. I will measure this one in camera. And just give it a cut. Oops. Get that out of the way. Try to find some little tiny jump rings, but I might have to dig out my other container to get some. I think I will be quicker. Alright, so let's attach this and see how it looks. I think it's going to be really pretty. It's very spring, which is what it's feeling like here today. The sun hasn't really been out much. It's been a little overcast, but it's like 50, 55 degrees out, which is so nice. go now. So if anyone doesn't know already, I have mentioned it, I know, and you know, it's one of those things, you gotta keep mentioning it because it's the only way you're gonna grow your channel and stuff, all that good stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. We'd love to have you as a subscriber to joining me with my videos. Yeah, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. I love it when you guys leave me comments. I do currently answer every single comment that comes through, and I hope to always be able to do so. I'm looking for my toggle clasp here, if you're wondering why I'm rambling. It did come with a toggle clasp, I just don't know what I did with it. I also, at this point, have stickers available on YouTube now. You can purchase the super stickers to help support my channel. My goal with my super stickers is to hopefully, isn't that a pretty toggle, is to hopefully be able to get better lighting in here. My house is very dark and my lighting is not the best, and I would like to be able to eventually, so that I can bring you better quality videos more consistently, well lit, is invest in some better lighting. So my super stickers are 99 cents, and I do want to do a drawing once a month. I'll probably do it at the beginning of every month for the month prior to that, and anybody that purchases a super sticker will go into that drawing. And if you purchase 2 or 3 super stickers, you'll go into the drawing 2 or 3 times. You'll go in for every super sticker you purchase. Yeah, and at the end of the month, beginning of the following month, when I do the drawing, you'll win. Somebody will win. I don't know, something nice. It'll be, you know, it could be a strand of nice beads, or you know, whatever. It's going to change. But there'll always be some nice little gift. Just to thank you guys for, you know, supporting my channel and helping me grow. And so there we go. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. I think it's gorgeous. Alright, I'm going to put it on a form and show y'all. Okay, here it is on a form. Isn't that pretty? So it just shows you that you do not have to spend a fortune on beads to make something beautiful. You know, you can buy the $5 packet from Walmart and one of the strands that hang there beside them and create something really, really pretty. I think that's beautiful. I love the little pearls. I think they have a nice glow to them, a nice luster. And then the little wired up focal. So I hope you guys all liked it. Thank you for joining me. And I will be back soon with my bargain bead box unboxing. I'm going to zoom in close here so you can see what I'm talking about with the wire wrapping on this one. I did not do did not do a great job on it. And now I'm going to zoom in on the other one. This is the one I put together with you guys. I took a little bit more time and did a much better job wiring it up, I think. So yeah, thank you guys. Love you all. Thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful day, and I hope to see you all again soon. Getting a little tongue-tied. Yeah, have a great day, guys.